What is going on, guys? Black Computer Tech Guy here, and as you can see, I have a bunch of stuff that I'm going to be talking about. Today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I turn my FX30 into a minimalist camera rig setup. Now, you've probably seen a bunch of YouTube videos out there with people making minimalist rigs, for run and gun, and that's great. And there's nothing wrong with those videos if you're doing, production videos, or you are hiring yourself out for making videos for someone or a client or something like that. But what if you just wanted to build out your rig just for your own self, just for your own channel? Well, I'm going to show you how to do that. I'll have all the accessories listed down below for this. This is going to be a stupidly expensive rig setup, but again, keep in mind, if you already own an FX30, you already spent a lot of money just the camera alone. So the parts that I'm going to have here in the accessories are going to be fairly inexpensive, as opposed to the next video that I'm going to be building, or that I'll be making, kind of showing the full potential of the rig that I'll be setting up and using when I go to VidCon, and just kind of doing that setup. This is kind of a two-first way. So basically, it's just a simple way, and then there's a more expensive way. So we're going to be doing the minimalist way, because this one's going to be probably the easiest and also the least expensive way of doing it. So as I said before, if you already own an FX30, you already know that you spend a lot of money on the camera. You want to rig it out like you see other people, but you're just not going into production or anything like that. You're not making videos for someone else. You just want to rig out your own FX30 and do your own thing with it. So that's what this video is entailing. So let's get into it. So first thing we're going to see here is, obviously, this is my FX30. This is the main lens for my camera. This is the Sony 15mm G lens f1.4. This is my first G lens ever. The only other lens I've owned, at least in terms of like high quality, in my opinion, was 11mm f1.8, I believe it is, which is the perfect vlogging lens for this, as well as for my ZB-E10. But this lens is pretty much 100% staying on this camera body. And when I go to VidCon in the next couple of weeks, I'll probably use a different lens, my Sigma 18, for any of the close-up shots, but primarily it's going to be this sticking right here. Now, as you can see, this is a cage that I have on this. This is the small rig cage for the FX30, FX3, because they're both basically the same camera body style and design. But this is from Small Rig. Now, Tilted does make one, as well as I believe Blue Condor Blue makes one. But I like the Small Rig stuff because a lot of the things that I'm going to be talking about will be in the links below. Now, these are not, I'm not sponsored by anybody here. I do have an affiliate link for one of the products that I'll be talking about in this, but everything else is just pretty much just links down below. Take a look at it if you want to. So this is the Small Rig cage for the FX30. The next thing we're going to be looking at is the top mount, or top handle, should I say, for the FX30. Now, actually, I had two different variants that I was going to go with. This was the second variant. So let me grab my other one. So this was the initial handle that I was going to stick with for the FX30 for my build. As you can see, what I loved about this is it allows you to basically put it on the NATO clamp. So this is the NATO clamp from my FX30. Simply just attach it as such, twist the little knob on the back, and there you go. And I could handle it that way. And if I wanted to do it in a vertical sense, I could simply just twist that sideways. And although this would be an odd way of doing it, if I wanted to hold my camera in a vertical way, I could. Not exactly sure why anyone would do it this way, because even though technically you'd be holding it with your hands like this, still the chance of you hitting a button or something, and that's just not something I wanted to do. But if I wanted to do it this way, where I could put my monitor mount on the front of the handle, then that would be no problem, because this does have screws right there, quarter screws, and I can still put a simple Small Rig cold shoe mount right there. Like, for instance, this is my monitor mount. I could literally just sit that like that. Then I could simply just twist and screw that in, and then once that was down, I had the ability to adjust, and I could literally just hold it with the monitor right there, and do that. Now that was kind of cool. I didn't mind that, but then when it came to wanting to hit record and doing all of that, I still would have to kind of hold it with one hand and press start with the other, or hold it with one hand and press the record button. And I just didn't really seem like that would make much sense in terms of ergonomics and functionality, so that didn't really work for me. So I got rid. So I didn't really use this anymore. I looked for something different, and that's when I came across the SmallRig. This is just simply a SmallRig handle that's a NATO mount that also has a stop and record button. So on the side here, there's a little USB input on that, and this will come with various cords depending on the camera that you own. All I gotta do is simply just attach USB-C to this, and because this uses a micro HDMI or micro USB interface for multi-use, I simply just attach that to this. So I'll explain what that is in a bit. So this, I simply just, there's a little button right here on the side. You probably can't see it, so I will show it to you really quick. So there's this little button right there. You simply press on that, and that allows you to slide things on and off without having to worry about it falling off. So I'm going to take my SmallRig handle, press this down. This is the only time I should have ever used two hands. Press it down, and usually you won't usually get it the first time, but I've been doing it for a bit. So, and then I simply just centralize it, and it's got a twisting knob in the middle that I just simply use to screw down the latch on the rail, and voila, that was perfectly fine. So that's part one of my build. This is a simple SmallRig handle that has the stop and record button, which I actually think is very useful, especially if you're a solo content creator like myself. It makes it that much easier to, you simply grab it, you need to record something, you tap on the stop and record button, and you're good to go. So next up for this is going to be, we need to mount a V-mount battery. That's where this comes in. Now, this is something I found off the SmallRig, and I wasn't trying to turn it. So if you see in my previous video, I made a YouTube shorts on how I was going to, that was my first version where I had it on NATO rolls and all that. That was just something I was toying around with. It's not something I really was wanting to do with this camera. It's not something I planned on doing. So I wanted a battery mount that allowed me to not have to use rails, but I can use the cage itself, and that's when I came up with and found the SmallRig V-mounted battery plate. You simply just unscrew the knob, hear the click, and then you simply just twist, and it tells you on the battery mount itself to when it's in locked place. So that's locked. That's not going anywhere. Another thing I like about this is that this lever right here, you lift that up, allows you to slide it up and down depending on how you want to configure your setup. And then once you have the desired setting, you simply just push down on the knob again, and it doesn't go anywhere. And then right here on the front, that is your locking. This is what you would use when you slide it in to the cage. You simply just slide in between, which is right here, those two pieces right there. Once it's in place and centered, you simply lock it like such. So we're going to take this and we're going to slide it onto the cage. So again, it'll be just right there. Usually takes a few times to figure out how to get it, but you can only do it one way anyway. Once you got it in the middle like such, then you simply just latch, and then that's it. It's not going anywhere. And then before you mount the battery mount or the V-mounted battery, you want to make sure that your screen is flipped out. Then you simply just, because this, again, why I love this is if you forget to do that, you simply just twist this knob, and then once it's back, when you have your screen fully pulled out, you simply just put it back up and lock it, and that's it. So that is the second part of this rig. Again, I guess it's very easy. It doesn't take that much time to build, but it also is very cost effective. So now we need a V-mounted battery. So the one I bought was the SmallRig. This is the V50, the 50-watt one. Now my plan is to, once I get my monitor set up, is to try and power both my camera and my mount or my monitor with this. As you can see, it has a D-tap right there, which I'll show you how that works in a minute. And then on the top here, you have other plugins. So you have an 8-volt to 12-volt, USB-C, and a USB. Now this can be charged via USB-C when you need to charge it up. The only issue I have with this, and this is something that DSLR Shooter was talking about when he was introducing the SmallRig batteries, is I don't particularly care much for the rubber tops. Now it's cool in terms of it keeping it sealed and whatnot, it works perfectly fine. But over time, as you lift this up and down, depending on how often you need to use this battery and plug things into it, eventually it will break off. And then if you try to use this outside, good luck with that, because obviously rain and batteries don't mix. So it would have been nice if they had a more of a solid solution. Maybe when they come up with another version of this, they'll have that. But aside from that, it's pretty easy to attach this to the V-mounted battery again, or the V-mounted plate. As you can see, that is your V-mount right there. And usually this just takes a bit to figure out how to put it on. Usually it took me like 3 or 4 times to actually get it on. And then I realized that the mount right here, there are separate mounts that you can get for this that come with the battery, but the one that I'm using, the default one that just comes on, it works fine. And again, you just simply just like that. And then there you go. And that is, again, half of the build. And again, you're not spending a lot of money, fairly easy. And then next up after that is attaching the monitor mount. So this, again, small rig, simply just attach it to the small chute. It does have a little button right there that you can use to push it. So when you slide it in, when you slide this in, it just makes a nice little clicking sound. And then you simply just tighten. And that's not going anywhere. Then when you want to remove this, you simply just unscrew like such. And then this button on the side here, and I'll show it to you really quick. That button right there, you press that in, it slides out. You're probably not be able to see it, but there's a little thing right here that goes up and down when you press this button. That is to keep the mount or accessory in place so that you don't knock it off or slide it off. So we're going to put this back on, then we're going to screw this back down, and then we're going to put on, I'm going to angle this really quick, and then we're going to put on my camera monitor, and I'll talk about that here right now. So this is just a simple camera monitor. I think the reason why I bought it was I kind of like the idea of, even though these have fold-out screens and they work perfectly fine for a lot of people, but if I wanted to see it on a much more bigger screen and see what I look like on that, and if I ever want to do any type of commentary videos or something like that, the fold-out screens on these cameras is perfectly fine. It works for almost 90% everybody, but I wanted to try something a little bit different, something bigger, and this is what I came out with, and I watched a few videos on it. This is the FreeWorld LUT 6. Now this is a 4K full touch camera monitor. Now on the bottom you have 2 power ports. You have a 8-volt there and a 12-volt there. Now my goal is to try and run these both off of my D-tapped battery. I've seen people actually be able to do that where I don't have to buy like an HDMI or a D-tap or something like that to make sure that it shorts up my battery, because I only have 1 D-tap port on that battery, and so I can plug this in and at the same time have it powered with that, which works fairly fine for me. I just have to get the cord for it. I also have an SD card slot that allows me to upload my own user LUTs, which I will be doing soon. And then this is your battery plate. This takes NPF batteries. Now this one I'm using is Wasabi Power. This is a NZ NPF 960, which is that right there. And again, I have a link down below for all of these, as well as for some alternatives. So you have quarter screws right there, and then you have one on the bottom as you typically would on any monitor. And then there's your little fan right there. So if it ever gets hot, you should make the fan automatically. And it's by default, it's automatically on. You can turn it off, but it's just easier to leave it on, especially if you're in a hot environment. You don't want this thing to be overheating. Then you have your touch controls right there. So this is not only just your power button, but you can also turn on and off your touch. And then here is your menu scrolling right there. You can use this to interactively interactively mess with the monitor. So basically, if you want to execute any functions, you press down, and that's pretty much it. And then you have your HDMI in and your out. So what we're going to do is I'm going to actually attach this to my Fx30 build. Fairly simple. So that is part of it. Now we're almost done. So next up is going to be powering the device. Now I got this from Condor Blue. It's just a simple NPZ100, I believe it is, to D-tap. So simply just take this, and the beautiful thing I like about the small rig is on the bottom of the little case, and there's a little latch there. So say I have this on a mount or something and I need to get access to battery, I can simply just pull that to the side and I can just get my hand in there and pop that. So we're just going to take this battery, we're going to pop it in. Like such. And then we're going to close that, plug this into the D-tap. And you'll know when you have it correctly connected because it only goes one way, otherwise you get a blue light. So as you can see, there's a little blue light right there. Now a bonus is I want to keep my cords from flailing all over the place. This is something I found from Blue Condor. It was a collaboration between Blue Condor or Condor Blue and a YouTuber named Mondi. These are called Mondo ties. They have various different sizes and various colors. This is a XL, and this simply just attaches to any quarter screw on pretty much anything small rig or Condor Blue, and it's basically just a fancy cable tie. And all I have to do is, and it comes with an Allen wrench in a nice little pouch. I got 5 of them because this is the XL, and that's really all I need. I simply just attach this to this like such. Then I simply just take the cord, then mount one that way, mount one that way. Now, it's never going to be 100% the way everybody wants theirs to be, but it still allows me to access pretty much any of the controls that I want right there. And then again, even when picking it up, it's not really in the way of my hand. And eventually you'll get used to it when you pick it up. And there's other ways you can mount it if you want to mount it closer or further, but I find that this is the easiest way for me to do it because the mount or the handle is long enough for me to hold my hand. Again, it's not really in my way. And if I want to switch hands and do it this way, again, not in my way. So now we're going to attach the HDMI cord. And before we do that, there's one other piece I need to attach to this. It comes with, this is an HDMI kind of holder in a sense. This right here. And again, pretty much most small rig cameras will come with an Allen key. I just put mine somewhere and I have to find it. Yeah. So pretty much all will come with these nice little Allen keys, which is actually very useful for your small rig products. And I'm simply just going to pop this as a little hole right there. I'm just going to attach this to that. Then all I have to do is simply just screw, and then that's it. It's in. Now to loosen up the grips on this, fairly easy, it's fairly self-explanatory. These you twist, and you'll see when it raises up and raises down. So I'm going to pop open the sides for the HDMI, put this into the HDMI in, put this into the HDMI into the back or into the front side of the Fx30 as such. And then all I have to do with this is simply just close down on it. This prevents the HDMI from falling out. If I were to accidentally get snagged on something, it won't come out. This grip will hold it. So you still want to be careful though, because you don't want to just pull on it. I don't know how durable these are if you were to give it a really good tug, but yeah. Now I'm not going to be using any type of mono ties for this because it like this is perfectly fine, and that's how that works. Now to fix how to set up the record from the mount or from my handle to the Fx30, fairly simple. Now there is on the bottom of this is a little cable thing right here. You might not be able to see it, that right little piece there. That is a kind of a cord management system for this. So what we're going to do is I'm going to plug this in to the USB-C on the handle, which is located on the side right here. Oh, wrong side. You want to make sure you have it on the right side. Very confusing, otherwise you end up having to pull it out and do it all over again. So I'm going to do it this way, just like that. Then I'm going to take it, route it through this little cord canal, like such, and then route it around. And then it's going to plug into the bottom. There is a micro USB plug-in on the bottom. You'll see 2 plug-ins. One's USB-C, one is the micro. You want to plug it into the micro, not the USB-C. And then there you go, like such. And then I simply just mount the battery onto my monitor. Now we are about 99% done. Now the only thing left is audio. So you're probably thinking, what do I use for audio? Well, I use the Hollyland Lark Maxes for my FX30. Now, the audio that you're hearing out of my ZVE10 is the Hollyland Lark M1s. Highly recommend these microphones. Very solid products. The Lark M1s are very budget friendly, easy to use. They have various versions of them. You can get some for your cell phone, whether it's an iPhone or for an Android, or you can get the ones that are just your normal 3.5 millimeter plugins. But this is the Hollyland Lark Maxes. Much better, in my opinion, versus the Lark M1s in terms of price and what you get. But again, they're both solid products. And I will have a link down below for the Hollylands. Now, this will be an affiliate link. So if you do decide to get something from them, I will get a small portion of that. So simply just, again, cold shoe into that. And you take your 3.5 millimeter plug-in, and then that simply plugs into the 3.5 millimeter plug-in in the Hollyland receiver or transmitter. And then this goes into, receiver into the Hollyland. And then this goes into the 3.5 millimeter plug-in, once I find it. And voila, we are set up. So as you can see, this is my minimalistic FX30 rig. Fairly easy to put together, fairly inexpensive. Again, I can simply just carry this with me all day, and it's not heavy by any means. Obviously, when you see the camera monitor with the battery, you think that it'll be a little bit heavy, but actually it isn't. But I believe you can also power this if you have an external battery source. You can plug this monitor into it via 8 volts, and then you simply just have power for both this and the FX30. But like I said before, this is more for like solo content creators. So if you are looking to build one and you're more into a production rig setup, I'd recommend getting something a little bit bigger than the 50-watt one. But as for me and what I do, this works perfectly fine for me. I simply turn on and I'm good to go. I can simply put this microphone somewhere else if I wanted to, but it right here works perfectly fine. Again, I can pick this up, works perfectly fine. All I gotta do is when I'm ready to hit a video, I simply just hit the red tap button, and then I can hit record, and when I'm done I hit stop, and that's pretty much it. Otherwise, that's all that I got for you guys today. I'm gonna thank everybody for watching, and I will have a link down below for all the accessories that I talked for my FX30 rig. So again, if you're new to my channel, please think about hitting that subscribe button, hit that bell notification. That way you don't miss content when I drop it. And I will be dropping another video because I got another rig build up that I have for this. That rig setup I'm taking with me to VidCon in the next couple of weeks. That is going to be my first time actually doing this style of vlogging. I've never really done it before like this before, so this will be my first time, and it'll be my first setup for that. So stay tuned for that video when I drop that. Otherwise, I want to thank everybody for watching. And again, my name is Mike, the Tech Guy. I'll see you guys in the next video. Enjoy your week. Have a great summer.